What's up, everybody? Coming back to you for another episode. We got Gray Maynard. I'm putting him in the podcast right now. Mitting him right here, right now. Here we go. Thank you, Zen. What's going on, Gray?
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, man? How are you?
Much. I'm doing
That's awesome.
good.
It's awesome
What's
to
going on
hear.
with
I'm just hanging in there, man. Just hanging in there, living life up like normal. I do anything fun this weekend?
you? This weekend, no, we have to go back home to Vegas on Sunday. We're probably just gonna hang out tomorrow. Taking my daughter to the college today, Michigan State. So
Yeah.
just hanging out. Yeah.
Are you trying to get your daughter to go to the alma mater?
She's got a long way to go, so we'll see. Yeah, she's
That's awesome.
like 7 years old.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. But does Michigan State have a special place in your heart?
Of course, man. Of course.
What drew you?
A lot of good people.
Michigan State.
My sister, she met my roommate while she was coming out to hang out with me for like a couple weeks. She met my roommate a long time ago. They hooked up. They got married, and she moved out here, and so now I still come out here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good stuff.
And so during the whole college recruiting process, when you're trying to go into college wrestling, what was the thing that most drew you to Michigan State?
All my buddies on my team were going to the U of M. Two of my really good buddies were going to the U of M. Definitely had an opportunity there, but I'm kind of a person that likes to create my own path. So I just kind of opted to not go with them and kind of go on my own. I had an opportunity to go to ASU. I was recruited by, a lot of different people, but I don't know, just something about state. I knew it was a good place, and in the long run, there's nothing perfect, but it turned out to be a really good choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you wrestled at Michigan State at the same time that Rashad Evans wrestled, didn't he?
Rashad, yep. We were pretty close.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was rewatching a Frankie Edgar fight last night because I was all excited for you to come on here, and and Mike Goldberg said something over the broadcast about were you two roommates? Because he said that.
Yeah, we stayed with each other a lot. Like while we were on trips and stuff. So we were close.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so was that a pretty cool thing when you both made it to the UFC and you both made it to the top of the tops and top?
Yeah. I mean, we always kept in touch. We always talked. We always kind of hung out and talked about training, about the sport, about how cool it was to do this together. And even though we weren't training together, we were still together and just kind of each other on and supportive.
Mm-hmm. And so when you started wrestling, like when you started taking wrestling really seriously, I know you're a 3-time All-American. Was making the crossover in mixed martial arts, was that always something that you always wanted to do, or is it kind of something that just happened?
It just happened, like after Michigan State, I moved out to Arizona and kind of was training with the ASU team and trying out for the 04 Olympics. Olympics are a tough road, man. It really is a lot of sacrificing, a little bit of money, and just mainly a dream. And I kind of lost my way with that dream. I was always more about being an NCAA champion. And then, I just wanted to compete still, and, didn't quite achieve that dream. I probably didn't put in really what I needed to accomplish that goal. But, after the '04 Olympics, I moved back home to Vegas, and MMA was getting big. Jiu-jitsu was kind of all over the place. I was jumping into jiu-jitsu gyms and still getting workouts in. And then word got back to BJ Penn, and he flew me out to Hawaii to help him with his wrestling. And that's kind of where the MMA dream started. And then I got back with Couture and just kept going.
So do you credit BJ Penn for kind of helping you like notice that this is kind of something that you're good at?
Yeah, I mean, of course, a lot of credit goes to a lot of people. Like I started out at Cobra Kai, which was one of the only gyms back then in Vegas, and Troy Mandalones was there, Kendall Grove, Jason Miller, Baroni, Jay Huron. There was a lot of people that kind of helped me get going, that told BJ Penn about me. I flew out to BJ Penn's. I got going with MMA a little bit more. Came home, and it just kind of clicked. Like Randy Couture had just moved out there, and I got with Randy Couture, got with Jay Huron, like Mike Piles, Forrest Griffin, a lot of guys, and we were just training. We were jumping around gym to gym, and we made it happen.
And so one thing I really want to talk and ask you about is like that second Frankie Edgar fight. Is that one of those fights that you're like happy with, or do you look back on that? No, it was obviously one of the greatest fights of all time. Do you like when people talk about that fight, or is it kind of like, does it bother you? Because me personally, you personally, I know, I thought that you should have won the decision.
Yeah, I thought so too, and it goes back to like people say it could have been stopped, but more so for me, I think it really kind of shows how bad the 10-point rule system is.
So bad.
Like on the rounds, and I think the first round, if there was a 10-7. That would have been a 10-7 round, but there's no 10-7s in like MMA. And you go to a boxing fight, and Juan Manuel Marquez against, Manny Pacquiao. That was a 10-6 round. He knocked him down in the first round like 4 times, and Marquez had to work his way back over 10 rounds, I think, or 12 rounds. To get a draw. And, I'm pretty sure I got 10-8 across the board. I might have got 1 10-9, on round 1. But it just shows about the scoring system and what's wrong with it. Because if anything should have been a 10-7 round, that would have been it. And then, obviously round 2, he did a great job. He came back. Round 3 was me. Round 4 was him. And then round 5, that was, in today, they're scoring a lot more draw rounds, and that was a draw, So it really shows, like, the scoring, like, really has to change.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Am I mad with it? I'm never happy without a win. I'm always, a draw and a loss, like, really doesn't sit well. Can I sleep at night? Yeah, I sleep at night. I did what I had to do, and it was a great fight, and hopefully people enjoy it. And then,
100%.
Again, I just wish that we would have got paid more. It goes back to that. The UFC's done a great job of keeping the fighter pay low, which is a slap in the face to a lot of guys and girls, and hopefully that changes as well.
Yeah.
And and they're still making money off that fight.
Yeah. For me, for example, I watched it on Fight Pass last night. Like, I mean, I'm sure UFC is getting some sort of money just from me watching it. Like that. Like that's one of my favorite fights of all time. That second fight, insane.
Yeah.
And so,
so
I'm sorry to cut you off. What was that?
Yeah, it just is what it is, man. And hopefully a lot of people learn off that. Hopefully the sport gets better in all ways with pay, with competition, with people's dreams to have big fights like that go down in history, and then also the scoring system. Hopefully it helps that out, down the road as well.
Mm-hmm. And so I gotta ask you, Gray, when you're in a fight like that, where it obviously won 2011 Fight of the Year, and it's still talked about 9 years later as being one of the greatest fights of all time. When you're in there and you're fighting, are you thinking like, whoa, like this is a great fight, or are you just laser focused?
Laser focused, man. You just you can barely hear the crowd, and you just you're just looking for, especially in a fight like that that's high paced, you're just looking for what's next, right? Trying to create more points, and that's really, people talk about being in the zone, like in sports, and that's really what it's about, is just concentrating on what's next, still feeling loose, not feeling pain, and just going for the gusto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so you obviously thought at the end of the fight that you won the decision. I obviously watched it 9 years later, but I thought that if I'm a ref, I'm watching this live, I'm thinking you won that fight, and then once the fight's over, are you happy? Are you happy with the draw, or are you like I worked this hard, put in one of the greatest fights of all time, for it to just be a draw, it's kind of like a kick in the face?
Yeah, well, you don't really think about greatest of all time or whatever, and it was like Fight of the Year, and ultimately right afterwards, I was definitely not happy because I wanted the belt. That was my goal, and again, it goes back to we gave them more than what they want, even if I got the belt. We gave them a great fight. We gave them whatever they wanted. And again, it goes back to the UFC, and they still hammered me on my next contract, on renegotiating. It wasn't like a happy time of like, hey, we're going to give you an awesome contract now. They still just, hammered me, which as an athlete, you're happy to give people kind of what they want. You're sad because you didn't get what you wanted, which is the belt, the championship, and you're mad because you're still getting like raked over the coals on a contract when you give everybody what they want and still getting hammered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a fighter pays, it's obviously coming into question more recently. Henry Cejudo, Jorge Masvidal, Conor McGregor, John Jones, and so you agree with those four? Kind of. I mean, I wouldn't say that, but like they all said they retired. I wouldn't say that any of them really retired. I mean, obviously Masvidal.
Yeah.
A week after he said that.
Yeah.
But and so is them you're a former fighter. You know where they're coming from. Is them saying?
Oh, exactly. I stand behind all fighters that go up against that go up against the machine, because that's what it is. They're trying to keep our pay low, and the top guys are trying to get paid as much as they can, and the top guys meaning Dana and the people higher up, and the people that have their money in it, which are a lot of actresses who made their money off unions.
Mm-hmm.
Like Masvidal, you take Masvidal, he literally would be sitting out still if all the stars didn't line up in his, his way, where COVID and that guy had to drop out because of COVID, and they just needing to create cards. Like, that's what it takes to get paid, is the stars have to align, in your way. Because if not, he could still be sitting out if Gilbert Burns would have not tested positive for COVID, for the COVID.
Yeah, it seems like that's like it's like it's pretty what's the word? It's pretty common where where it's these big name fighters who who think they deserve a lot of money, and then and they don't get the money that they want, so they just try to step away just because they know that they're a big draw, and eventually Dana will cave in because this is what
Dana doesn't cave in. It's not Dana caving in. It's them having to have you, and that's the only time they'll pay more is when they have to have you, when they need you. Which is a shame, man. It's again with George, like, all that stuff had to line up for him to get paid. And that's not how it works for 95, 98% of the guys in the UFC.
Yeah, this is what, the fourth, fifth time Conor McGregor retired. Like, I mean, I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And there's no rules. There's no rules or laws protecting us as athletes, as fighters. Boxers have the Ali Act. We aren't covered by that. And once we get that passed, it'll change up a little bit. But we got to get that done, and we gotta band together as athletes to go up against this huge corporation that's holding us down.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of calls lately for all the fighters to join or not join, but to create a fighters union. Have you heard about those calls?
Yeah.
And so if a fighters union did come into fruition, would you support it?
Hell yeah, 100%. Anything I can do to support the fighters who are leaving the blood, sweat, and tears in the octagon to get paid more, I'm with it. Because right now, the only people who are really getting paid, are people that don't step in the octagon, who are just, Dana, he's the face of the UFC, right? And the guy hasn't thrown a punch, he works hard, don't get me wrong, he's a great promoter, but, there's no reason why he should be, everything, about the UFC,
Yeah, of course.
It's just egos, man. It's a lot of egos, and it's a lot of just money hungry people at the top that are using us, and we're the ones who are putting it on the line.
Yeah, because it's like we said about having like a gimmick in the UFC. Like, it's a lot of it's kind of turning into the WWE. It's kind of like I feel like it's continuously just getting there, where it's these people like Colby Covington who go out on these Colby Covington's got the Kurt Angle thing going. Like, he's trying to sell the fight because he wants to get paid. It's Jorge Masvidal being this street fighter kind of guy. It's Conor McGregor's crazy antics against Jose Aldo. It's just
and they love to use that. They love to use that. But here's the thing: they don't have to deal with that when you retire, right? You're the one that has to deal with that, and you're the one that has to look like that guy, whatever image you create, right? And it's kind of like Vanilla Ice, right? All these people use him to be this like wannabe gangster, and hype him up, and then afterwards he's like, dude, I got to deal with this like for the rest of my life now, looking like this. And there's a lot of guys that do their image smart, but then there's a lot of guys that just really feel like they have to create this crazy image, and the UFC encourages that, because again, they don't have to deal with it when you retire. They just move on to the next one.
Yeah, it kind of sucks for the fighters who are just there for the love of the sport, like Kamaru Usman, Stipe Miocic, Khabib. You know, it's those fighters who are just there for the love of the sport and who aren't there to, you know, make themselves look bad. They're there to, you know, show up and do what they love, you know, leave and then do it all over again in a couple months, you know.
You know, and if Khabib wasn't, you know, a new market draw, you know, really he wouldn't be that big. But he's Russia, you know. He created the Russian market, which is a huge market.
Oh yeah.
But if he came from America, you know, and he was just Khabib, he wouldn't be as big as he would.
No, I feel like Khabib's like I want to say he's one of those dudes that was helped by Conor McGregor, because Khabib's, you know, a beast in his own. But I feel like if it wasn't for that Conor fight, I think that he'd just be, you know, a regular old champ who doesn't get that much draw money, but because of the Conor fight, you know, people tune in to see Conor, they see Khabib beats Conor, and then, you know, all of a sudden people are looking at the cards coming up, they see Khabib's name, like, that dude's pretty good, so then they tune in. So I feel like if Khabib had that Conor fight, that Conor hyped up because of all the horrible things he said, and then, you know, it worked out in Khabib's favor for the rest of his career, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Well, Gray, I really appreciate you coming on here. I appreciate you talking to me about all these things that you know that I want to hear from former fighters, from current fighters. It really means a lot for you to take your time. You know, I know you're obviously a legend of the sport. You're a father now. You're a great person, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this for me.
Man, I appreciate you having on me. Good luck with everything. Keep up the good work and keep spreading the word, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Great. I think very much. You have a great day, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir.
You have a great one.
I'll talk to you, bud. All right.
Bye.